Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the YesSHECan project. I cannot tell you how excited I am to today be joined by the gorgeous Siobhan Phillips. Hello, Siobhan.
Hi, Michelle. Are you really excited?
A little bit. Can you tell?
Just be a little bit, because too much excitement is too much pressure.
So, for those of you that are watching on YouTube, you will undoubtedly, no doubt recognise Siobhan as one of the stars from 2019's Britain's Got Talent final, the only female in the final, can I add as well. So Siobhan, you've been performing since you were 16. Could you tell me a bit about the journey into getting into this kind of industry at such a young age?
Well, I was still at school when I started out, and obviously I didn't drive at that time. But my dad used to just basically drive me around because I wasn't one of these kids that just wanted to be famous. I just loved singing. So singing was my first love, not the comedy, because I think at 16, you've got a lot to learn and nothing's very funny because you've not really done much at that point. But because I started doing gigs at such a young age, they weren't the best gigs because they were like what I like to call the apprenticeship gigs. And you're just starting out, and I got an agent, but I got an agent from the back of winning a karaoke competition, which was £1,000, which back in 1923 was a lot of money. That's how long ago it was. And so I used that money to buy a PA system. I was very pragmatic, really, for a kid, and I was doing my A-levels as well. At the time, I did my GCSEs A-levels. But I knew in my heart that I wanted to be a singer, a performer, and the comedy came later. So I'd be doing all these gigs, and eventually they led to better gigs, and I just did it. We just went like naturally on a upward curve, which is lucky. Yeah.
Gosh.
From that young age, and it did take. I look back and I think how unbothered I was. Like now, some of the places I went to, I would have to go in a stab vest.
Yeah.
But I used to just not be frightened. I think when you're young, you kind of just you think you're invincible. And I'm glad I did it at such a young age because I got the experience to be able to deal with any sort of crowd that would come my way. So by the time we fast forward to when I eventually get a break, I was ready to deal with anything.
Yeah, definitely, because you'd kind of been there, done that, got the t-shirt situation, hadn't you?
There's no overnight sensation or anything like that. It was hard graft, but I'm grateful for that because it just teaches you patience as well, because I used to be not very patient as a young but yeah.
Was it like in your family kind of musical stuff?
Yes, so my great grandfather was an opera singer.
Wow.
On the Irish side, yeah, he was an opera singer, which back in those days was quite unheard of, really.
Yeah.
And then my dad played guitar. My mum's a really good singer. Not anymore. She's old now.
Oh, bless her.
She's old and she smoked too much. She ruined her voice. Never smoke if you want a good voice. Mind you saying that, George Michael used to eat cigarettes, didn't he? And he had a marvellous voice. Anyway, so I digress. But yes, my mum was a good singer. My brother is the lead singer in a band. So it's definitely just there. It's just in the family. Yeah, lucky, really.
Incredible. Did you have any idea, Siobhan? I know obviously you'd had the experience and you'd perhaps picked up quite a bit of confidence along the way in, honing your craft anyway. Did you have any idea when you stepped out on the stage for BGT that your life would change in such a big way?
Absolutely not, because I remember thinking I'll just go for a day out, because Kerris was at that age where they're really annoying and they want you all the time, like just nearly, I think she was 18 months, nearly 2. And it was just a bit of a break. I took my flask, I took some butties, I thought I'll have a day out. It was in Manchester at the Lowry. I really didn't know what to expect. And it's really strange because I just kept getting through and I'm thinking, oh, I'll have to keep going now then. I'll have to keep going back. So I just took it in my stride, because I was at an age, I was 42, and at an age where your head is not turned as easily because you've had promises in the past that didn't come off, and so you're kind of used to a rejection by then. So you just take it all in your stride, which I'm glad, because I think if I'd have been younger, I wouldn't have handled it as well.
Okay.
I'd been more stressed about everything, and I mean, when you're that tired because you've not slept for 2 years, you kind of just, you're a little bit like, just so placid because you don't know where you are or who you are. So it made it easy, really.
You don't know whether you're actually
Just
dreaming
being
or you're just
jaded.
going to wake up.
Yeah, just jaded in general. I thought I'll have a go at this. It'll be nice. It'll be a day out.
Bless you. But I think the thing that was difficult though, wasn't it, is because you were on the show in 2019, and then obviously we all know what happened in 2020 and beyond that. How difficult, and I would imagine ridiculously frustrating it was for you, because the entertainment industry was obviously one of the worst hit and everything just came to a standstill, and you weren't able to, would it be fair to say that you weren't able to build on the traction in the
Oh,
same way that
massively,
previous
massively.
contestants?
Talk about timing. I mean, if it was raining soup, I would have a fork, Michelle. It's one of them. I've always been in wrong place at wrong time. I don't know why, because I'm all right at what I do, and I just feel like lots of things in the past, like I've had bad managers, and I've been ripped off, and then
Oh,
I got to this point. I thought, oh, this is my break. This is definitely the big break. You wouldn't be able to write what happened, really, because I'd started the tour, the national tour, which is what I'd always wanted to do, where people are actually coming to see me,
yeah,
and I'm not just there as a fill-in or whatever. And that was the dream. And then that began, and then to have it taken away so brutally, and then
oh.
you've got Rishi Sunak piping up saying that the arts are not viable. I'd like to see him do a stint on a cruise ship, Michelle. He'd be thrown overboard. But no, it was
Well, he didn't have Sky, remember, so he might not have watched
oh,
very
he
much
suffered, didn't he? Yeah,
entertainment.
he never had Sky TV, the poor little mite. That was cleaned up. But yeah, it was the best of times and the worst of times, because I don't know if you remember, during the pandemic, the weather was lovely. Keris was at an age where she was just a joy. So I got that time with her.
Yeah,
But career wise, I wanted to show her that, mums do achieve and do work and do step out of the kitchen.
yeah,
So it all just, yeah, it was hard mentally, because when you finally get there, because if you remember, so if I was 42, I've been doing it since the age of 16, to
yeah,
finally think this is it and then it not be it. That was quite
yeah.
hard to take and hard to accept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you move forward from that? Did it kind of force you in another direction? Did you go ahead and rebook the tour, or what happened next?
The problem with BGT, it's like a conveyor belt. So once
Yes.
you've had your bite of the cherry, you have to move really quickly, because there's another load of people coming along. And I was well aware of that, and I'm not bitter about it, because I know that that's how it works.
Yeah.
It was almost impossible to get the theatres back on side after that, because they didn't reopen until quite late. They were the last
Yeah.
businesses to reopen, and at that point they'd already planned their itineraries. And to be quite honest, I wasn't hot property at that point. I'd moved back down again, which I accept that, because that's the type of show that Britain's Got Talent is. You
Mhm.
just have to get on the train, ride it. Well, that sounds real. Get on the train and ride it, and then you
Choo
get off and
choo.
you're a star. I'm so American, aren't I? For somebody from Wakefield. Have you heard of it? Ooh.
Bless you. You have been described though as the love child of Peter Kay and Victoria Wood.
Yeah, David
You,
Walliams gave me that tag.
did he?
He
Do
did,
you
but
agree?
I used to agree, because I just agreed with everything back then. But I've had in hindsight, no, because I, I love them both. I think they are superb, but I just think that I'm me. Now
Yeah.
if I'd have my time over again, I would have done a different set. But I was put in the box of, you are Victoria Wood, so you need to do the funny songs.
Okay.
You do get told to a certain degree what is expected of you, and the subjects for the songs, I was told what they needed. So maybe
Really? Oh, that's an inside scoop.
I'm telling you now, come to me. I'll probably be killed in the night now, just spilling the beans. But it is very, yeah, you are in that, that's your lane, you need to stay in that lane.
Okay.
And I understand that, because they've only got a certain amount of time to make a television programme, and the need to make it's a variety show. It's like an old style variety show is BGT. So you've got your
Yeah.
dancing dogs, you've got your crazy people coming over from China and hiding the bits with a tray. I saw a guy doing that other night. It was baffling. I mean, does anyone really need that? And imagine that he does an hour show of that. Nobody wants to see that, do they? But yeah, it's one of them. They have to have diversity, and they have to show like, yeah. So I was the mum. I was the mum. I wasn't a single mum, and they portrayed me as a single mum. And I don't know
Oh,
whether
okay.
I think that was for sympathy. And by the time it went out, there was nothing I could do to change that. And luckily, I've got a great partner. We've been together 10 years. You know, if that had been me and it had been him, I'd have been going crazy saying, how dare they? How dare they erase me?
To
Anyway,
be fair, like that's totally what I thought.
well, there you
Because
go.
like you say, that's the way that it was portrayed, wasn't it?
Yeah, poor little me. Well, not so little. I've lost a bit of weight since then. I've lost like 6.5 stone since I went on there. So I'm pleased with that, yeah. I've lost like a little person. But yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of things that I would change if I could go back. And in fact, I wouldn't go back. I just wouldn't go back because you've got to be mentally very strong to do a show like that. There's so much more goes into it that people don't see. Before I went on stage, I had 14 hours waiting. 14 hours.
Oh my God.
Yeah. On a little mini bag of Haribo. And back then, I needed a bit more than that. And at one point, I was nearly in tears because I was tired, I was starving. They sent the counsellor for the show to come and talk to me, a lovely woman called Cynthia, but she was very much head on one side saying, Siobhan, are you okay? I said, Cynthia, I'm fine. I just need a butty to keep me going. How am I supposed to live on mini Haribos? A little mini bag of Haribos? You know, them little tiny, tiny ones?
Yeah, in
For
the
14
multi-packs that
hours.
you get for
14
Halloween.
hours. And then I had to go on stage in front of all the judges, and yeah, so you've got to be really tough to do a show like that, or else it just eats you up and spits you out. People don't see all that; they just think, oh, you're only there for an hour. You go on, do your thing. No, it's such a long process.
Wow.
Yeah, I
And
don't
then the
think I'm gonna go
pressure and
through
the
that.
stress as well of the
I'm not going
actual.
through. Yeah, it basically took over my life for that period, and that it was quite a long period because once the audition went out, you've got another 6 weeks to wait for the live shows, and then you've got the final. Massive, massive pressure. Massive pressure.
How did you handle that?
Oh, I just
Obviously.
drank a bottle of wine tonight, a bottle of red wine, you know, just blot it out, and I just rocked in a corner crying.
Oh,
No,
well,
I did some days, but a lot of the time I just took it in my stride because I do find television people a bit bizarre. That they're all right, happy all the time, and I think that's just not normal, is it? Being happy all the time.
must be on some kind of tablets, I would think.
They're on a load of stuff, but we can't talk about that. I met one genuine guy called Ross, and he became a friend, and he was the best person I've ever met, and he's doing really well in his career now.
Oh.
And I'm so glad that I met him because out of everybody, he was the most genuine and lovely person.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can't say everybody's the same, but I do find that world very fake. I find the TV world very fake, but unfortunately, that's how it is. So, yeah.
Bless you. What did you what did you excuse me.
Oh,
That is not good. I've been nicking some of your mum's fags, I think. I would imagine lots of people were quick to kind of jump on and give you advice at that time, Siobhan. What would you say is the best piece of advice that you got, and what's the worst?
best piece of advice. A few days after the final, I was on This Morning with Ruth Langsford, who is a wonderful woman. And she just said to me, my advice is do not go on Twitter, come off Twitter, because it's a horrific place. And she suffered a lot of abuse on Twitter, just getting trolled. And I think that was great advice because I had nipped on Twitter and some of the comments were vile, just all about me. All about my size. And I think to myself, do you not know I don't know I'm fat because my clothes don't fit? And just horrible things. And I think as humans, we tend to just dwell on the nasty comments. There'd be like 20 fabulous comments, and then this one horrible person who's probably sat in his mum's front room and he's like 60, he's never moved out. He'll have a string vest on. He'll have egg yolk down. He'll be built like a mountain himself, but he feels fit to comment on my appearance. And Ruth was just wonderful at that time because I really felt like a rabbit in the headlights because I'd gone from being anonymous to being on lots of different television programs. And she was just a genuine person. She had time for me. She sat and talked to me, and she's very busy. Don't forget, she had loads of different items coming up. But yeah, and I just thought, what a great person. And she is definitely a woman's woman. She's one of those people that she wouldn't ever. She'd work alongside you and help you, which I think is important.
Oh,
We've got to stick together.
100%. Yeah, definitely. There's enough crap out there that we
Yeah,
have to deal with anyway,
yeah,
without us not supporting each other.
yeah. And the worst advice I got was to have my hair like that in the final. I look like I've been plugged into a socket.
No,
It's
I think it looked
it's horrible.
nice.
It's awful. It's like it's just you get kind of like pushed along in this whirlwind. I look back and I look like some sort of crazy American housewife that lives in a trailer, and she's like back home. And I think to myself, that's forevermore now. So when I'm dead, and my daughter's growing, she'll be like, "Oh, do you want to see my mum on television when she was?" And they'll be like, "Oh, is that your mum? She looks crazy." Look at her. So anyway, yeah, there's other bits of advice, but sometimes I think people give advice to build their own ego, and it's nothing to do
Yes.
with what they want to tell you. They're just trying to be when I did this and when I did that, and that annoys me because you can just see straight through people like that. They're just doing it for their own ends,
Yeah,
probably
100%.
leading you down a path that you might not want to go down. So I won't
Almost to
say.
see you fail in a way
Oh,
because they're jealous
massively,
of
yeah.
your
I'm not going to
success.
name any names because I won't even give them the satisfaction. But yeah, there was quite a lot of that. And there's people that had not spoken to me for years that started sending messages. I think they probably thought, oh, I'm going to win the 250 grand and they were going to come for a loan. And that annoyed me as well. I thought, don't be talking to me now just because you think I'm going to win a load of money and you want me to lend you a tenner.
Yeah.
Jog
How
on.
did you handle that? Did you get back to them or did you just ignore them completely?
Just give them a thumbs up. Instagram thumbs up. That passive aggressive, wonderful thumbs up. Yeah, I don't wish him any ill, but I just don't want him in my life again. It's you showed me your colours years ago. Don't come back now.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
So
gone
you
all gone all northern fishwife now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it, I do. So in terms of your daughter, Siobhan, if she was to come to you and say that she wanted a career in the industry, would you encourage her?
Absolutely not. No.
No.
It's a rotten industry. It's so I remember going into it because I loved the music side. I loved, and I mean, when I say I love singing, I get such a buzz from nobody saw me sing normally on BGT, just saw me comedy songs. But when I'm belting out a big ballad and it's emotional, that you just get a sense from it, and it just gives you joy, and it kind of must release dopamine and all sorts
Yeah.
because it makes you happy. But so if she was to come to me and say that she enjoys doing something, that's great. But if she wants to just be famous, like a lot of kids do, I've sometimes speak to her friends and I say, "What do you want to be?" "I want to be famous,"
Yeah.
or I want a million followers. And I think it's really dangerous because you're living your life on the acceptance of other people, and other
Mhm.
people have got their own agendas and their own insecurities. And so I'm mindful of the fact that we need a lot more plumbers in this country. You can't get a tradesperson. I think she should train as a plumber. And then
Yeah.
if she wants to go into showbiz, but I don't think showbiz is the world that it was when I started. There's
No.
no path that you can take because back the path then was like you start in your pubs and your clubs, you do your
Mhm.
gigs, you do your apprenticeship, and then if you're lucky, you'll get onto better gigs. And then I started doing the ships, and there was a path to follow, and you might be lucky and get a TV slot, and but I don't think it's like that now. It's all about
No.
TikTok and different social media, which it can be brutal.
It's more or less about instant fame, isn't it? And then you only
Yeah.
get a really short period of that success and then it just goes.
Yeah, it just goes. And the phone stops ringing. I think it's good to be. If you want longevity, you've got to sort of keep getting rebooked and hoping that you just keep going. I mean, it's
Yeah.
consistency is success. I mean,
Mhm.
where am I now? I'm years down, I'm 30 years down the line. No, a bit more actually, 32 years, and I'm still working. And I'm grateful for that. I think
That's a huge achievement.
it's a lot to ask, yeah, because I know like I've been very, very lucky and I've always worked and always earned money from it. So I think that to me, I'm happy for that. And not necessarily, if I look now and I look at people that are famous, I feel sorry for some people because
Yeah.
they're under massive scrutiny. They can't go anywhere now without being filmed and
Mhm.
commented on. And I don't think I could cope with that. I think
No.
there's a level of fame that's a really good level where you can still walk around and not be hounded all the time.
Yeah, when you want to just go into Greg's and just get a sausage roll or something, you can't, can you?
You cannot, no, no. Oh, I won't like that, no. I've got to be able to freely roam Greg's with no instructions. I find that on the cruise ships, I'll be sitting eating and somebody will come up and say, I don't want to interrupt you. I feel like saying, well, don't then, because I'm eating. It's a very important part of my day. But yeah, if you're famous, you get that all the time. So at least when you get off the cruise ship, you're just back to being anonymous again.
Yeah, definitely.
As anonymous as you can be when you're 6 foot tall with bright red hair. But I just put a balaclava on and that solves it. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, no one's looking at you then. So, does your daughter take like a big part in your career in a sense of, does she give you some constructive criticism or when
Yeah,
you
massively.
perform?
She is. So, for instance, if a job comes in, my first thought is not, do I want to do it? My first thought is Keris and how I'm going to juggle things and
Of course.
like how it's going to affect her, because I'm lucky I've got my mum and I've got my partner and he's brilliant. But I have to be mindful that I want to spend time with her. She's not going to be this age again. She's 8, nearly 9. And it's harder to leave her now because she is so much more aware. And we do miss each other so much when I'm away. So I'll look at the schedule and I'll think, no, if it's just too crazy. And I don't mind doing that because I'm not as ambitious as I once was. In that way where you've just got to focus on the job and nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll look and so this thing I'm doing at the moment, so we might do 5 nights, but then we'll get 3 days at home, and that's perfect. It's really good. So yeah, I'm happy to do a schedule that fits around family first, because family are the most important thing.
Yeah, definitely. And I think like we were talking about before we started, your priorities kind of shift, don't they?
Massively.
Especially when, not only when you've got children, but as you're getting older and you have that wealth of experience and life experience in a way.
You have to think, is this going to enhance my life or is it going to drain me? And if it's
Yes.
going to enhance your life, do it. But not if you sort of know as well when it's not your first rodeo. You can preempt what the gig's going to be like.
Yeah.
So people look down on cruise ship gigs. I love a cruise ship gig. I get on, I take my Kindle. I've got 8 books on my Kindle. I'll read that within a few days. I love reading. And then I'll do a gig. The theatres are amazing on board. The bands are amazing. And then off I'll trot again. I'll go see some nice places. And then I'm back home. And I'm a better mum for doing that, because I get back and I've got my head in dishwasher and I'm not kind of resentful, because I have the best of both worlds. So I think I'm
Amazing.
in a lucky position.
Yeah. How long are you away for normally if you go on the cruise
Usually
ship?
about 5 days, just 5 days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, fly there, do the gig. You do 2 nights, which you do 2 separate, different shows,
Yeah.
and then the rest of the time is your own.
Amazing.
It's brilliant, really good.
So
Yeah,
so do you do the comedy stuff when you do the cruise ships, or
yeah,
is it just the singing?
yeah. I do the comedy as well, so
Amazing.
I will come onto I'll usually open on a big song. Might be Adele. I'm an Adele fan. And
Oh,
then I shall go into the stand up, and then I will do one of the comedy songs, and then I might do another straight song. It's great because you can do old fashioned. Well, I say old fashioned. It's variety, so
yeah.
people get, if they might not like this bit, they'll like that bit. So it's good, and the audiences are really nice as well. Really good audiences.
Because people do some people say you either love cruise ships or you hate them, don't you?
Yeah, but there's such a younger crowd now. They're really popular.
Really?
Oh yeah, I mean, when I say younger, I mean like from 20s upwards and
Yeah.
right up to in their 80s. So you've got your traditional cruises, but you've also got the ones. If you see the ships now, you're not aware you're on a ship, because it's like just amazing. You can play golf on some of them. You can
Oh
go.
my God.
There's like surfing. I don't know what you call them, like flow rider things. It's just
Yeah.
amazing. It's like a different world. And you get to see places, and you might think, oh, I'd come back here for a week or so. So you get to like have a taster of each place.
It's like a recce, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm getting taken up the fjords. It's not the first time. And I love that itinerary because it's just so beautiful, and I can go out
Yeah.
walking and look at waterfalls. Mind you, at my age, in perimenopause, when you hear water,
Yeah, you
it's a
can't,
bit
can you?
dodgy. Yeah, I have to take a bottle with me. Yeah, so it's just, I love it. I just love it. It's
Oh,
great.
so you touched upon, Siobhan, about the current tour that you're doing around the UK. So it's for Rita Sue and Bob Too. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
I wanted to do some straight acting, as it were, and it is a comedy play, but I am still just acting. There's no singing, no music. I wanted to challenge
Okay.
myself because I think as I've got older, I've become more fearful of new things and doing new things. So
Oh,
when Julia told me about it, I thought, I'm doing it. And I looked at the schedule, and there's a lot of northern dates, so I've been able to commute. But at the moment, I'm sitting in my hotel room in Southport. Look at me, name dropping, rock and roll. Just in my little hotel here. But I thought to myself, this is doable, and
yeah.
it's not a massive part, but it's a comedic part that leaves an impact. So from the scenes that I'm in, every one of them is a belting scene, and the last scene I get as well is just wonderful because I get to play drunk, which I've had a lot of experience in. And it's actually harder to play drunk when you're not drunk than it is
Is
when you're
it?
just drunk. Yeah, because drunk people they're really annoying. And in the
Oh
scene,
no.
I get to be really annoying with my daughter Sue, and she despairs of me, and I have to get up onto a high chair, which is hilarious because it's a little bit slapstick, and it's just really good fun, and the audiences are loving it because it's very retro. It's like it was written by Andrea Dunbar. She was 19. Andrea had 3 children, and she grew up on a
Wow.
really rough estate. So when they say write about what you know, it's like with comedy, I tend to write about things that relate to my life. She wrote about her background, and so it's very
Wow.
gritty, and some people are a little bit quick to judge and say, oh, it's about an old man grooming young girls. But if you come and watch the play, it could not be further from the truth. We've got so much humour in it as well,
Yeah.
and the audiences are just lapping it up. So I'm just loving it. It's really nice to work with a cast as well because I've always been a lone ranger,
Yeah.
and they are such a lovely cast. And I feel like the mum as well because most of them are like half my age. And then I've got Warren that plays my dad. He's 55 and he was in Shameless for years. And he's really funny because he's just so down to earth. And me and him just watch it. We watch all young ones having fun and thinking about what mistakes they're going to make in life. And we just like sit back and try and give advice. And they're probably thinking, shut up, you old boy farts. But it's good. I enjoy it. I enjoy mixing with younger people because it kind of keeps you young as well, I think.
Yeah.
They're teaching me about TikTok, which I do need to get into because I don't
Yeah.
understand TikTok. They've all got the attention span of a flea now, and they just like watch these really short videos.
And then scroll. And
I
then
know,
scroll again.
I know they're brutal. They just like walk on by like Dionne Warwick. They're just like, yeah, scroll, 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 and yeah.
But I was saying to you before we came on that like even 1 week ago, your BGT audition has got over 600,000 views on
That's
TikTok
mad. That's mad,
in a
isn't it?
week. It's crazy.
Look at me, I'm viral. Get some antibiotics. No, honestly, it's just fantastic. Yeah, it's great. I'm gonna try and find it, but I probably can't. I went on TikTok and I got no, not a channel. It's not a channel, is it? What's it called? Anyway, so I've got one, but I don't know. I don't even know how to access it 'cause I can't
Like a
even remember.
profile.
I'll try. I'll have a
Yeah.
look. But I'm not bothered about watching myself. I find it cringy when you
Do
watch
you?
yourself. Oh, yeah. It's awful. It's toe curlingly awful. I just can't imagine being that person that goes, "Oh, I can't wait to watch myself." So
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a what do you call it? Well, a clown for one. But I'm strange because I would like to do more television, but on the other hand, I probably wouldn't watch it. So that's a bit weird, isn't
Yeah.
it? A bit
Yeah, but
strange.
the money might be good though. That's
Yeah,
the upside, isn't it?
but I'd like to just put some work out there that's around after I go, and and I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
dying yet, hopefully, but you never know, do you? Uh, but yeah, I'd like to have something out there. Yeah, that I'd be proud of and think that's like a bit of a legacy.
What would be the dream? Like if you could have like a show of your own or something, what kind of format do you think it would take?
Well, I love other people and their stories, and I
Um,
think I'll be sitting somewhere innocuously, probably eating a Tesco meal deal in between shows, like we've got a matinee because I do like to live the rock lifestyle,
yeah,
and somebody
especially in
will.
Southport.
Oh, mate, honestly, it's just brilliant. There's so many characters. So, like, I'll be sat there and then somebody will just sit down on a bench and start telling me everything about the life. But I love
Oh,
that. I love getting people's stories out of them. So I'd like that. I'd like it's like an old-fashioned show, really. So you do a bit of interviewing, You get up and
Yeah.
belt out a song, do a bit of comedy. I think there's going to be like, oh, hang on, somebody's trying to ring me.
I know it kind of like you
my
flashed
mum.
on and off.
It's my mum trying to ring me. I've told her I'm doing this. She's probably run out of cigarettes. She's probably asking me to go to the shop.
I'll have some for her by the sounds of it.
I've sent her to voicemail. She gave birth to me. Get to voicemail. So yeah, I'd love that. It's like an old-fashioned type Cilla Black type thing.
Oh, we need more of that. We
Things,
need that kind
things
of
come
thing
back.
back.
Things come back. They try and reinvent the wheel, and at some point, that kind of show will come back. I'm quite convinced of it. So I'd love to do
Julia,
something.
if you're listening, let's get this pitched.
Julia knows me. She knows what I want, but it changes day to day. So I think I need to focus and manifest. Because there's a lot of manifestation going on now. I keep getting told about manifestation by Jake Quickenden. He manifests all sorts of stuff, like, yeah. So
honestly, right, I used to think that it was quite like woo-woo,
but it's not. It works.
It does work, definitely. Like previous to my mentoring business, I had like a product business.
Yeah.
And I saw myself with the keys to a shop, like a high street shop, and within 3 months it happened.
Oh wow.
Honestly,
We're going to have a conversation about this at a later date where you can, because I think with me, my mind wanders, and it's very important to have like an empty head, which sometimes, but you've got to really concentrate on it. And I find when I'm concentrating on it, other thoughts pop in, intrusive thoughts, which might not be helpful.
Definitely.
It's easy to think on the negative side when you're in this kind of business and you're used to rejection.
Yeah, I bet it is. But something else that's really helped me in like times when I've struggled is mindfulness. Like I just thought it was like all to do with something that I was never really interested in, or something that I didn't see myself doing. But the differences made is just insane. So yeah, we'll talk about that. I'll email you, Siobhan.
You will. You might be the key to my dominance of the world.
Oh my God, yes. I'll be there in the wings when you've got your own show. We did it.
Can you imagine? That'd be great, wouldn't it? Look at me.
So you have met quite a few like legends in your time, Siobhan. Is there been anybody that has left you totally starstruck when you've met them?
Yeah, and it's a funny one, is this, but Bob Mortimer.
Right. Oh, I love him. He's amazing.
And when I were being all fangirly around him, he's like, get a grip, because he's just so unassuming.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise he was going to be on Loose Women on the same day that I was on. And I just became like, I could not string a sentence together. And he's only right little, is Bob. And I'm, like I say, I'm 6 foot. And I sort of sidled up to him in a really creepy way. Hiya, Bob. I love you, Bob. And I bet he just thought I were cleaner or something. He probably thought this clown's not on this show. He went, oh, thank you. That's really nice. And then I said, could I have a selfie with you? And he said, oh, yeah, you can, of course. And then we just got chatting, but about normal things. And it, like, obviously, he mentioned he'd recently had heart bypass surgery and stuff. And I thought, that's what comedy does for you. It makes you on death's door. But just such a lovely guy. And that's the kind of person I'm into. Massively successful, but no ego, and absolutely just a fantastic person. I think it shines through from people if they're genuine.
It does. And do you watch Gone Fishing with him and
Paul Lighthouse? I love Paul
It's one of my favourite programmes. It's just wholesome, isn't it?
It's wholesome, and they don't have to try to be funny because they've just got funny bones. It's like, it's just there. Just them talking to each other is just hilarious.
It is. And
I love how they've got that power where they've been able to go to the producer and say, you know what we're going to do? We're going to make this programme about fishing. If it had been anybody else that had just like said, no chance, that's not happening. But because it's them, it's wonderful. It just works. Yeah,
it does.
But yeah, Bob, I mean, he's not a glamorous choice in Bob, but he's like, to me, I think people like that deserve every bit of success that they get because they're keeping it real. And I think that's important in the era that we're living in. It's not all, you don't have to be all glossy and perfect. You've got to keep it real.
And I think that's because of the realness in your songs at the time of BGT. People resonated with you straight away because you made something funny out of stuff that was so relatable as well. And I think that's why you're so down to earth and successful as well.
I still get the odd message now for people that have just discovered the clips. And
On TikTok
very,
this week.
yeah, like I get Facebook messages from people and Instagram messages saying, "Oh, I've just watched it. I absolutely love it, and I've got a toddler at home at the minute," and so they can relate to it. So I think it's one of those songs, or the songs will keep coming back because there'll always be somebody in that position. Because I'm at a different stage in motherhood now, because she's nearly 9, and with
Yeah.
that brings new challenges as well. So there's just a plethora of subjects that you can write about.
Yeah, 100%. So during your career, Siobhan, you must have had a lot of ups and downs. What would you say has been your biggest challenge so far, and how have you managed to overcome it?
Well, obviously the pandemic was a massive challenge.
Yeah.
And I tried, the thing that I found most important was not to take it personally, because when it is your show and it's you and it's your name on it, you kind of, it's hard as a human being not to think, oh, I'm a failure. But then I thought you had no control over that, and I'm very bad at accepting situations that I have no control over, because I
Yeah.
think part of me is a massive control freak, and I found it quite frightening that for once I could not do anything about it. I
Yeah.
was completely powerless, and and I mean, I joke about everything because I think humour does help, but
Yeah.
I really did struggle with it. And I don't like to be self-pitying. I hate that.
Mhm.
And so I did get into, I had a little pity party for a few months. I thought, what are you doing? Why are you doing this when it's not in your control?
Yeah.
And other low points have been when I've had certain points years before BGT where I thought this is the big break, and then that never
Oh,
turned out to be either. At one point, Russell Watson's manager, and Russell was massive at that time, was about to take me on. And then all of a sudden, he just did a U-turn and said, "Oh, do you know what? I haven't got time really. I'm
oh
having
no.
to focus on Russell." And yeah, so there's been bits where you do think, but I think what I do admire about myself is, yeah, I might go into that little pit for maybe a month, and
Yeah.
then I get out stronger. And I think every time I come back, I'm stronger than the time before. And I think if I've accepted that as part of my personality, where I will get a little bit down, but I will always find my way out of it,
Yeah.
which I think is important, because you've got to rely on yourself, because you've got to live with yourself 24 hours a day. So
Yeah.
I've become better at understanding my down episodes.
Mhm. And
Because when I was
accepting them
younger,
in a
yeah,
way.
when I was younger, I couldn't cope with it, and I used to just think, oh, I will feel this way forever. You
Yeah.
don't feel that way forever. You do come out of it eventually, but you just have to
Mhm.
give yourself time and be kind to yourself.
Yeah. And I think not fight it as well. If you know that it's coming and you know that it's something that you have to experience in order to come back out of it again, like you said, stronger, then it's almost like embracing it in a way, because it's part of the journey, isn't it? As
It is.
cheesy as that sounds.
No, it really is. It really is. And when I was younger, I wouldn't have handled it as well. So in a way, it was. I think everything does happen at the right time.
Yeah.
Um, it might not seem so when you're in it, but then I look back and I think, yeah, because if I'd have been younger, I wouldn't have coped, and I would have gone into a bigger pit, and I would have taken longer to come out of that. And also, when you do have children, they are your first priority, so they help to lift you and cheer you up. And
Yeah.
yeah,
It gives you a
massively.
new sense of focus, doesn't it, too?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Because I just want the best for her now. I'm
Mhm.
secondary, so anything that happens to me is a bonus.
Yeah.
And she will always be she's like the biggest love of my life, and she'll always be my first priority.
Mhm.
So that in
100%.
itself is quite freeing as well.
Yeah.
And the worry that goes along with it, with being a mum, is just immense. But I'd take that any day, because I just look at my life and I think, if I hadn't been so lucky as to have a baby so late, I just feel like I would have missed out massively on so
Yeah.
much happiness.
You wouldn't be the person that you are today without it either.
No, definitely not. No.
Oh. So from all of your performances, Siobhan, over the past over 30 years, you must have performed at some weird and wonderful places. What is the weirdest place that you've performed at?
In a church, at a funeral, next to a coffin. So if anybody's not feeling well at the moment and they think they might be on the way out, you want to book me so that I don't get booked up in advance, and I'll sing at your funeral.
Yeah.
Luckily, back then I wasn't doing the comedy songs, because that would have been a bit inappropriate. But imagine the songs I could write, Michelle. If people wanted me to do the funerals, I'd just get
Oh my
all the
God.
info about the person, put all the worst traits in,
Yeah.
and put a little bit in where I knock on the coffin to check that they're really dead. I think there'll be a market for that. So I'm putting that out there in the universe. If anybody
Oh
fancies
my
me
God,
doing,
I'm your first client. You are doing my
I
funeral.
don't want you to die yet. Just just hold your horses. But honestly, I think. But yeah, at this particular funeral, it was a man who he was called Dave, and he drove a wagon.
Mhm.
I can't believe I'm laughing, but I know Dave would laugh at this. He left the handbrake off, went round the back, got crushed by his own wagon.
Oh my
You can
God.
laugh, Michelle, because Dave, as I knew Dave, he would have laughed. He used to come to all my gigs when I was doing like the clubs and stuff and caravan
Oh.
parks, and he used to support me. Him and his wife Lynn. Oh, I'm still in touch with Lynn, and she's married again and she's happy again. But Dave, I mean, Dave, I despair. You know what? It was just a tragic accident, and he got
Bless
yeah, he
him.
got crushed by his own. He were a heavy goods vehicle driver, and he got crushed by it. And as I'm saying that, I can see like the comedy in that, and I know Dave would have seen the comedy in that. But the song he loved me doing was "Somewhere Over the Rainbow," which I think he probably is now. And I sung that. So as I'm singing it, obviously Lynn were sobbing. Everybody
Oh.
was sobbing. So it's a good job I've got a good pair of lungs on me because I had to sing really loud because everybody were crying. And then I wanted to cry.
Oh.
And it's tragic, this. And then I went to a psychic a few months later and he said, "Oh, Dave's here, Dave's here. Oh, shut up, Dave," he said. I went, "Why are you shutting him up?" He says, "He's singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow and he's a terrible
Oh.
singer." Yeah, so Dave was there and he said he wanted to say thank you to me for singing it at his funeral. And I totally believe that now because why would
Yeah.
he be singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow and he could not sing? Dave could not sing. And so, yeah, that kind of happens. But what a strange gig. Just a strange gig.
Yeah.
I'll take any gigs, me. I love it because I just think it's, mind you, I've said that now. I'll get some weirdo ringing me up and asking me to do a bedroom gig, and I'm over that. I'd rather have a cup of
Oh
tea.
no. So
I'm not that.
bless you. So you mentioned Siobhan about being a self-taught gin addict. So would you say that you are a connoisseur
Yeah,
in
but
gin?
problem is, you're supposed to spit it out, and I just keep necking it. I don't. I think, you give it all this, don't you? And I think, to be honest, I'm more of a connoisseur of wine now. I used to be one of
Okay.
these that, when you're younger, you just drink Lambrini.
Yeah.
Now I've become a little bit snobby. I'm not going to lie. I think it's my age. I think because I'm 48 and I'm closer to death, life's too short to drink
Oh
bad
my
wine.
God.
Life's too short to drink bad wine. You've got to know your years, and you've got to know your regions. I'm a big fan. I mean, I do love red wine, but I think it's a bit more of a winter drink. So in the summer, I like a Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc. Sauvignon Blanc.
Oh,
Um,
something wrong.
the Marlborough region is a wonderful region, and in New Zealand, and you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. Yeah, it's quaffable. It's quaffable. But I don't drink as much as I used to because I just can't handle the hangovers. They last for like a
Yeah.
week. So I just
Mhm.
like to just get a quality wine that I can really enjoy and do that right annoying sound. When you go like that and go, Gareth goes
Yeah.
mental. I'm like, stop it, you're doing it again. And I don't realise I'm doing it. And I used to berate my mother for doing that. Mum, do you
Mhm.
know you're making a noise when you drink? She goes, oh, I'm just enjoying it. And I drive myself mad, but I do it. I am that person now. I'm becoming that person. I think it's
Do
funny
you do
because,
that thing where you like swirl it and then sniff and then say, "Oh, there's notes of..."
well, only if I'm with a pretentious load of people from telly,
Okay.
I do it then. But no, do you know, I generally don't. I'm a bit common, as you can tell, and I might have a little sniff, but only to like think, oh, this is going down soon. But yeah, we all need wine at times, don't we? It's just,
Definitely.
we've got to. You can't just, I don't really think I'd be teetotal, but I'm a bit more discerning now, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I had
you
years,
deserve it.
years
You've
on cruise ships,
worked hard.
and I don't know how we're still alive, to be honest, because we used to party in every country you can think of and go in the crew bar, and it was subsidised, so you could get a cocktail for like $1, an
Oh
American
God.
dollar, and it just, yeah. I did some partying, and I'm glad I did, really, because I did it all before I had Keris, and so
Yeah.
like, yeah, I've been lucky. But I think you get to an age where you just can't handle. You can party, but then you can't handle it next day, so it's not worth it.
Yeah, exactly. You got to weigh it up, haven't you, really?
Yeah. Is it worth it? Are these people that I really want to feel rubbish for the next few
Mm.
days? And if they're not, don't do it. Don't do
Yeah,
it. Protect your sanity.
definitely. What's the big dream for you?
I haven't got a big dream, but then you've made me think about the big dream. Um, I want to be in Coronation Street or
Do you?
Emmerdale. Yeah, I'd love to do that. I could be a postman. Do you know what I mean? Just No, actually, I want a proper part. I want a
Yes,
proper part.
aim big.
They could they could have me on as a drag queen, and then the big thing could be, oh, she's a woman. She's a woman drag queen. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm so right. So most actors that I've met recently, they're small, like they're really short.
Okay.
They're about 5'2" or something. And so, yeah, I think I am really tall for a cast because they'd have to do funny angles. They'd probably have to get an cameraman in just to make me look shorter. So yeah, but I don't know. But then you think, the I remember meeting Liz Dawn, who played Vera Duckworth, and she
Oh
was on
yeah.
a cruise. She was on a cruise ship, and she gave me a lift home from Southampton. She came to
Oh,
watch my shows, and she loved my shows. And she said towards the end of her career, the episodes had gone up massively, and she was doing hours and hours and hours a day, and it's a really really tough schedule when you're doing a show,
yeah.
and it's full on. So again, there's that family thing. You think, would I get time with my family? Um,
Mhm.
you see, yeah, I like working, but I like going home as well. And
Yeah.
you've got to have a balance. So maybe that would be, but I definitely want to do more acting. I'm surprised at how much I've enjoyed it.
Oh,
Um,
mate.
so I think maybe Julia and I need to speak about getting a casting agent on board that's do because Julia's fabulous and she does all publicity and media things.
Yeah.
And we could maybe speak to somebody about more acting work because I really enjoy it. And I could just sit down, could just be sitting down, and then nobody knows that I'm taller than everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. Sitting down in the rovers. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, 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 it'd be great with that. I can see me coming on as Jodie Prenger's sister because I went to the Kitty Cafe in Leeds, and because Keris likes cats and I'm more of a dog person, so I took her.
Ah.
And I remember getting loads of attention and people were being really nice and the staff, and one of them came up and said, "Can I have your autograph?" And I went,
Oh.
"It's 6 years since I did BGT." And she said, "Well, aren't you in Corrie? You're Jodie Prenger." And I'm like, "No, I'm not, but I wish I was." Because I love Jodie. I used to work with Jodie years ago. I don't think she'd remember me, but we
Okay.
did the similar gigs growing up, and we're similar age. And so this lady thought I was her, and I'm thinking, yeah. So then I thought I need to ring up Corrie and say, does she want like a long lost sister to come back off the cruise
Yeah.
ship and join her? I think
And then
that'd
like a
work.
cameo, so then you could kind of
Cameo,
come
yeah,
in and
yeah.
go out and come in and go out and then still get that flexibility that you want.
That is perfect. That's perfect. Yeah, you're really good, aren't you, at life coaching and stuff?
Oh, thanks.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to manifest that. I'm going to be Jodie Prenger's sister. Or I
Well,
could be, actually, some days I could be a mother. So yeah. I wish people would stop WhatsApping me when they know I'm doing this important thing.
oh, it's so rude. How
Just
dare they?
rude. I don't want friends. Go away.
Well, I know of I know someone that knows the casting director at Coronation Street. So after this,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. I'll play anybody. I'll be a bloke. I'm not bothered. I'm flexible. I'm not flexible. I have to get going on a morning before I'm flexible. But yeah, I think it'd be great. It would. I mean, I know I'm Yorkshire, but Corrie's always been my go-to. And when I
Yeah.
met Liz Dawn, she gave me advice, and she was never an actress. She's not trained, and I'm not trained. I'm barely house trained. And she said to me, "You don't have to be trained to be an actor. If you get a part, anyone who's writing for you will write for you." That's what they
Yeah.
used to do with Liz. They wrote for her as a person. And she used to have her lines written on teapots and all sorts.
Oh, amazing.
She told me all the. I got some wonderful tales from her, and what a great woman! Just a really good, and again, really down to earth, just a normal person.
Yeah.
Got
Well,
a
with
lived home with her, and she kept giving me jelly babies, and I don't like jelly babies, but I thought it's Liz Dawn, eat the jelly babies.
who cares what it is? Eat
Story
it.
to tell, isn't it? It's a story to tell. So yeah.
Definitely. With you doing the theatre, Siobhan, is it like recorded as well? So you could have bits for like a show reel, especially if it's
Mm.
like purely act.
We're just speaking about this. I was talking to one of the girl she's absolutely fabulous. She's the swing and the understudy, and she said to me that she would put the clips together and make me a little
Okay.
acting show reel. And I
Mhm.
actually look like Liz Dawn when I'm in this play because they hide every bit of my hair, and I've got this blonde wig on, and I look like a cross between Liz Dawn and Myra Hindley.
Oh my God.
Which is a strong look. And so like it's that's going to be my show reel, so people are going to think, who is this? But when I am doing this mum that I'm playing, she's a battle axe, and she's kind of there's a little bit of domestic violence going on because she's a bit nasty to the husband, but it's very Jack and Vera. I'm styling her on the old. Me and Warren said let's style this on the old style Jack and Vera, when the scripts were just wonderful back then. And I've watched Corrie since I can remember, since being really, really young. And so that's who I'm kind of basing the character on in Rita Sue Bob Too. Yeah, and it's working. So yeah, God bless you, Liz.
Yes, well, let's manifest the fact that you're going to get a part in Coronation Street very soon.
Yeah. Will I have to sit still and cross my legs because I'm bad at crossing my legs? They start hurting. Do you cross your legs when you manifest? Do you sit like? Do you sit in a quiet room?
I don't like meditate or anything like that.
Oh,
I think
good. I'm rubbish at meditation because I'm always thinking of what I need in the supermarket while I'm trying to.
Same.
I'm rubbish. Oh, okay, right.
And it's always like, oh crap, I gotta go and do the dishes, or I gotta do this, or send this email.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
No, you don't have to. It doesn't. I think that's the thing, though. I think for so long people have thought that it was so much. What's the word? Like so far away from what they would feel comfortable doing.
Yes.
That's the reason why I never ventured into doing anything like it, because I just thought it just wouldn't be something that I enjoy or anything that I could do, because I know the way that my brain works, it just doesn't settle for long periods. But as soon as I started doing it, you can do it exactly in the way that suits you.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Let's get you going.
Yes.
Well, Siobhan, honestly, I could literally talk to you all day, but I'm gonna have to let you go because I think we've been over an hour, so I'm sorry for taking up so much of your time.
It's me. I'm ever so garrulous. I remember that word from my Shakespeare A level, and I use it a lot. And I'm weird. Yeah, I'm just garrulous. I've been called worse things, but I've really enjoyed it because it's nice to talk to somebody that's kind of just helping other women. Because we need to stick together. We just need to stick together, especially now more than ever. I just think it's great. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. Well, if I'll put some links in the show notes to how long are you doing the tour for? When
we've got another 5 weeks. We finish in Liverpool in April. Yeah, so we've got.
Well, I can put the link to the tickets maybe.
Oh wow, yeah, thank you. That's great. Yeah, we've sold out in a lot of places, but we need to sell a few more in Barnstaple.
Okay.
So that'd be great. Yeah, because you can get that done before we actually go there. So that'll be wonderful. Thanks for that.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
I better ring my mum back now and see what she wants. So yeah.